to come from this thing.
My teachers and other alumni. It's very nice that we could all be together and share some of our thoughts. In fact, when Shivarajan first called me and said that the alumni meet is going to be there on 14th of November, which ultimately got adjourned, if you must talk in our language. Because we practice on law, we are used to adjournments very commonly. To the 21st. And he said, why don't you speak? I was a little hesitant because I really would not know how to speak to my own set of friends who all have their own thoughts and feelings. Well, ultimately, Shivarajan one day called me and said, people who have reached height should speak. And I knew what he was meaning by 6 feet and 4 inches, and there was nobody to match me. At least I could see anybody there. Well, that apparently seemed to be the catch, and Shivarajan had it, and I couldn't say no thereafter. Well, I must thank the people who thought of this alumni club and Shivarajan and my teachers here who have been so much a part of it. I will not take much of your time, but I will only recall some of the instances right from my school days. I joined here in the 10th standard, after the 10th standard. I'll be very honest. Because one thing I'm very clear, I don't tell lies unless I'm paid for it. I practice on law. You will have to appreciate that I necessarily will have to tell lies, but that is only when I'm paid for. I joined the school, to be very particular, I joined from Hindu Senior Secondary. I joined the school after my 10th standard because my father felt that I was a bad student, which was right. Rightfully so, and because I could not get into a state board school, which is what he wanted me to, because of the simple reason that as per state board norms, I had then failed. You need to get 35% to pass, and I had got 34% marks in mathematics in 10th standard. Right? I joined my 11th standard. I continued to be a bad student. I was failed by the school, and I was angry with the school. Absolutely angry. I repeated my 11th standard. I still remember the days when Chokalingam sir used to teach us accountancy and commerce, and I used to write everything other than accountancy and commerce. And then, you know, I somehow managed to scrape through 12th standard. I'll be honest again. And I could not get admission into a college. I went into correspondence. It so happened that all my brothers and sisters were doing, two of my brothers and sisters were into chartered accountancy. So I had to fool around somehow to, you know, at least make my parents believe that I was doing something. Therefore, I said I will join a course called cost accountancy. And then it so happened that there were two other students who befriended me. One of them was very good in mathematics because he happened to be a BSc Maths student. And the other was one of those very brilliant kind of students. I don't know how they made friends with me, but they still chose to. Luck would have it that way. We started studying together. And it so happened that it was then that I realized that my grounding on accountancy was so good that these two students wanted me to teach them accountancy while they were helping me on the other subjects. So by default, I started helping my friends in accountancy and they were helping me in mathematics. I wrote the first group of the intermediate of the cost accountancy course, which was then supposed to be very difficult, at least. Today we don't say that because we know we've cleared and it cannot be difficult. If I myself have cleared it. Well, be that as it may, I still vividly remember I happened to pass in the first attempt. It so happened that I got 35 marks in mathematics, which was the pass then, exactly, and 76 marks in accountancy after leaving a 12-mark question which I had not, 16-mark question which I had not studied at all, the topic which I had left out completely. Which means I attempted 84 marks and got 72 marks, and I still owe this to Mr. Chokalingam. I am not very sorry. Friends, that was the starting point. And I must thank all my well-wishers, my teachers, my friends, my God and everybody who helped me get to that turning point. That put pressure on me. That was a title which I had to defend. And then it so happened that I continued the chartered accountancy and I did reasonably well. Not that I did not fail up there after I did. I did reasonably well though. And then because my brother and sister were in chartered accountancy, I joined the chartered accountancy too. And it so happened that I cleared the course too. All this was just providence, to say the least. It was after finishing my chartered accountancy that I really started studying. And I made it a point then that for every day, there are some of my friends here who know me from the beginning of this profession. I made it a point that I will read for at least, come what may, at least 1 hour a day, minimum. And I maintain that until today, from 1994, I have not missed my marriage day. Even on the day of my marriage, I slipped out and read for 1 hour. My wife was very cut up with me on the first day, on the day of marriage. And it didn't matter to me, but I learned a lesson then, your daily lessons. That is what they told me when I was a child. And I didn't understand what they were telling. I didn't like them because they said you do your daily lessons. And I learned it the hard way about several years after I came out of the school. And I then realized that this is what they have been telling me, do your daily lessons. It was so easy. I don't find a strain in reading today because I do it every day and for me it's a routine now. If I don't do it, I feel lost. I will share more with you. Then I had gathered the courage to say I will speak at a meeting after I qualified. I did pathetically, badly. Believe me, there was a 3-ton AC behind me, just about 2 feet away, and I was pouring, sweating like mad. I couldn't hold the mic and speak for just 1 minute. The fear of my own voice was killing. The first time I heard my voice over a mic was then. And I then knew how bad it was. Be that as it may, I pursued because for me failure was not new. I have failed before, I continue to fail. I made 2 attempts, 3 attempts, 4 attempts. I continue to say I will speak. And today I speak at every forum, I have spoken everywhere. And I still owe this to my good old teachers who taught me that failure is also a way of life and that we need to take it. Well, I cannot recall each and every instance that happened as a student and for which I owe my gratitude to my teachers. The good, the bad, the ugly which I was. But whatever it be, without recalling every instance, I can just say that in the mind of every one of us, we will recall that it was just our parents and teachers who made us and nobody else. Well, we may have liked it, we may not have liked it. Principal was saying it is a great thing to see that the alumni come and put their children here. Where will they put them? They know that the gene is a problem. There is a genealogical problem, and if that has to be corrected, we have to bring them back here. Because we all realize that we got it corrected here, and therefore we bring them here, and no other reason, ma'am, for us to bring our children here. Well, as I was saying, it was this school or our schools that made us, our teachers that made us. To cut the long story short, I can just say that we owe a lot and a lot more to our teachers. And I think we are today in a position to contribute quite a bit in terms of time, money and effort to this school and to our teachers, which we all will certainly endeavor to do. Madam, you can be sure that this time around we will not let this alumni fail. We will ensure that this goes to its full strength and goes from strength to strength. Thank you all very much. And as I mentioned in the beginning, it was just that a featured speaker, they wanted a tall personality. Somebody who has reached a great height. I can see the skies a little closer. That was the only achievement. If if I desire something today, I have money, I have achieved fairly decent amount of fame, and if I can do something today, ma'am, I will tell you that I would like to become a student back in the school with this amount of knowledge that I need to respect my teachers and I need to learn from them, which I did not do those days. Thank you all very much.
Fantastic.